Hey guys, it's Melody of the Audio Twins duo, and this is so much easier with a partner. Welcome to another episode of the Endless Podcast. Well, to get to the title of this video, shout out to you, Becca C. Smith. Thank you for subscribing. But we also have to say sorry for deleting the reason you subscribed. We were scared we were going to get copyrighted, but then after I deleted the video, I realized you were a subscriber. So, to say thank you, eventually we're going to make a whole audiobook on just the first book. So if someone wants to buy the other two, which is the whole reason why I bought the other two, because the first one was free, they can. So we're going to make this awesome audiobook for the first book, but that'll probably come out in months from now. But I just wanted to tell you that, so thanks. And we'll probably make a book trailer, too, to also thank you, which will probably come out after the first audiobook. So that'll be even more months from now, after I invest in khakis and gray contacts. So if you are Becca C. Smith and watching this video, thank you, and literally nothing else in this video pertains to you, but you're welcome to stay, because we welcome everyone. So, I really don't have a topic to this video, hence why they're called Endless Podcasts. They're just me ranting about a bunch of stuff. It might not even be a rant, I just talk a lot. So, I wanted to talk about things that I like, because I was just thinking, well, I like horror movies, but I already did something on horror movies. But I was really thinking about my coin collection. And I don't collect coins like a normal coin collector. Like, I don't go out of my way to go and collect coins. What I do is I check the date on every coin and see if it's important to me. Which means quarters from 1965 or older, those are pretty sweet, because they're actually silver quarters. They're not some fake quarter. And then if you get a quarter from 1970, and if it was made in San Francisco, so it has the little S on it, it's possibly a cover-up of a 1949 Canadian quarter. And then any wheat pennies are just awesome. And then basically any coin older than 1965 is pretty sweet. And then there's something cool about 2001 Ohio pennies. I mean, not pennies, quarters. But I have not looked into that one. But I make sure to keep them when I find them. Plus I have a bunch of foreign coins whenever I get a Canadian quarter or Canadian penny. Sometimes I get a euro, which is pretty sweet. Most people don't get a euro. Well, I'm probably boring you guys. My other obsession, cats, which is ironic, because my third obsession is pillows. Here, let me show you. These are just some of the pillows. I'm holding one, actually two right now. I got pillows galore. Yeah, I don't know what it is about pillows, but I really like pillows. And coins and cats. Except, like, I guess, I don't know, I like snuggling things. That would explain the cats and the pillows, but does not understand the coins. I don't know, I just like things that are old, but aren't boring, because history is pretty boring. Like, war history, that is so boring. But then you have stuff like the origin of Halloween and those crazy Celts dancing around a fire just in costumes to ward off ghosts. Those are some pretty strange people, and I absolutely darn love it. Or like the origin of where Slender Man came from, and he was some like ancient religion, not religion, something that popped up in stories long time ago, before he was a creepypasta. Or like basically the origin of mysterious stuff, like the Bermuda Triangle or the Paris Catacombs. Those are pretty sweet. Actually, I could probably give you a lecture on the Paris Catacombs. But, to spare you, I won't. Because you'd probably be bored. But it interests me. What I will go on a rant about, because I do enjoy these. Sorry, I was going to say like these, but then I said enjoy these. And then it sounded like I put into a sentence randomly. I'm trying to work on that. Trying not to say like a bunch of times in the sense of trying to fill space. Anyway, dreams. That's what I'm getting into. I am the strangest sleeper. What I mean is, I have no clue. Whenever I look at my dreams or what I do in my sleep, it seems like no one else in the world except maybe 2% of the population has the same problem. And usually it's not the same people who have all the same things. For example, let's get into like the physical stuff, like the stuff I actually do. I sleepwalk all the time. And Bianca hates me for it. She hates me even more when I scream in my sleep, and I literally have no reason to be screaming. I never have nightmares, except like here and there, but I wake up screaming and then I know I'm screaming. But when I know I'm not screaming, I'm not having a nightmare because I remember my dream from every night. So I have no clue why I'm screaming. It could be anything. And so then no one has this problem. That's just a me problem. If someone finds it, I didn't really do too much digging on it. I usually do, though, so I should do that. But if anyone wants to let me know, that would be fantastic. Then there's the other physical stuff where, like, I'll kick and I never wake up in the same position I fell asleep. Sometimes my head will be here and my feet will be here, and I wake up like this. Or like this. It's crazy. Or like this. Yeah. I don't think I've ever fallen asleep the same way I've woken up. And then more, like, I've woken up because I've punched the wall. And the one time I did punch the wall and woke up because of it was because I was digging a volleyball in my dream, and it was like over there. And I dove for it, and I punched the wall. There's been other times where I kick the person, or like, I have no clue. I'm never awake from it. I sleep, and then people tell me in the morning what I did. And then one time, my dad caught me using his toothbrush. And I was like, Dad, I appreciate the filling in of information of what I did last night, but I don't need to know that. There is no way I would ever do that purposely. I don't know what I was dreaming about then. I was 7 and he told me when I was 9 that I was using his toothbrush. 2 years later, at least he waited. But I don't know what the heck I could have been dreaming about to use his toothbrush. That's really crazy. But then, let's get into dreams and how they're weird. So I usually have super long dreams. And the only reason I know this is because you hear all the time of your dreams are actually only a minute and a half long at most. And I believed it. I thought, oh, my 30-minute long dream is only a minute and a half. And I don't think they're 30 minutes. I think they're short, but I think they're longer than the average a minute and a half. Only because usually when I look up how my dreams go, most people have their dreams end before mine do. For example, this one happens like once a week. I breathe underwater, and what happens is I'm having fun. Either I'm with friends, or I'm at the beach, or I'm just on my own, and I'm swimming. And I'm just having a grand old time, and I'm swimming, and I just love the water. As you heard from the video posted today, but you're going to get this video tomorrow, I am the daughter of Poseidon, and I would not deny it if Poseidon came down and said I'm his daughter. I would, even if it's a fake person telling me I'm his daughter and he is Poseidon, I would believe it, because there is random water everywhere. But I'll get into that story next. Let me continue the water dream. So I'm swimming, and usually it's a lake or a pool or the ocean. Literally anything that has water and you can swim in. But most of the time I'm in the ocean. I'm in the ocean most of the time. But sometimes I'll be in a lake, and sometimes I'll be in a pool. But anyway, so I'll be swimming, and for one time I'll go under, and usually when I go underwater I pretend to swim like a mermaid, and I'm using my hips, and I'm having so much fun, and I just love the water. And I can't come up in time, and I can't breathe. And one time I feel like the only reason I try this is because one time when I was younger, I was swimming in a pool, and I was trying really hard to grab this fish at the bottom. You know those toys that you throw in the water, and then you go after and chase them? Well, there was a fish, and it was at the bottom of a 9-foot pool. And I'm going in, and it just slips from my hand like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, I am getting this fish. And it was in 2nd grade, so I really couldn't hold my breath that well. And I'm starting to swim back to the top, but I didn't push off the bottom because I didn't understand that concept yet. And I couldn't breathe. So I went underwater, and my lungs filled with water, and I got out and I started hacking and all that, but I didn't drown. So that one confuses me too. How was I able to do that? Like, was there enough oxygen in the H2O that made me live? I don't understand how I wasn't rushed to the hospital and didn't drown. I drank a lot of water after that, though, because it was like, I'm dying. Anyway, so every time in these specific dreams, I'm swimming, and I can't get to the surface in time, so I go underwater. And for some reason, I am able to breathe. And that's not a rare dream. It's common. And I looked it up a bunch of times because, like I said, it happens like once a week. And water usually represents anxiety, and the breathing represents you overcoming it. And I was like, that makes sense, but not really, because I don't know what's stressing me down other than school. But school has always done that, and it happens this year, so I don't know what that's from. And then I did some more digging, and it said, but, because it's usually a forum that describes these dreams that I have, because no one has the same dreams as me. Anyway, so I'm reading through the forum, and the person is like, but usually I continue the dream, and I'm walking on the surface like it's a normal time, but I'm breathing under the water, or I continue to swim, or I turn into a mermaid, or something that I keep breathing. And literally, I did more research on that, of the continuation of the dream, and 2% of the population at most has it. Because what happens is people breathe underwater, they figure out they can breathe, and then they wake up. And it's the same thing. Like, you always hear you die in a dream, and you wake up. Every time I die in a dream, I just watch my dead body. Like, I have never woken up because I died. I have never woken up because of a scary event, like breathing underwater and almost drowning. No, I continue it, and one time there was this house underwater, and I was just walking through it. Or one time I was in a house, and it filled with water, and I couldn't get out, and I started breathing, and I was just walking through the house. Or like there was this one time I was hunting for treasure, and all of a sudden I could breathe underwater after I kept going up and down, and I just couldn't get to the surface in time, and I just dug through the treasure because I had all the time in the world because I could finally breathe underwater. And barely anybody has these dreams. And what sucks about having the dreams that last longer than most people is that you literally can't find any answers. First thing, people who have normal dreams that end at certain times, or they go on normal paths, or they're about normal things, can look them up. They can understand it. And doctors and scientists don't know how dreams are caused and don't know how most of them are about. And people will guess, and people have a pretty good idea for most dreams, but then it sucks for me and 2% of the population. Because they don't even have the slightest guess of what could be happening. My guess is it's an active REM cycle, your rapid eye movement cycle, because I don't know if mine lasts longer or what, because I am constantly moving in my sleep and I am constantly dreaming in my sleep, and I just want to know. Like, they need to start inventing a technology where people can see dreams and then, well, other people, not us, where other people can see dreams and then other people can figure out how they're caused and what part of the brain it triggers, so stuff like this can be answered. Like, please, shout out, please, to all those scientists in the world. Tell me what the heck is going on. And, yeah, dreams are weird for me, and sleeping in general. And then here's another weird thing about my dreams that happens to probably 1% of the population, because I can't find anybody with the same problem. So whenever I look this up, I've always known, whenever I describe a dream to someone, they're like, that is the best explanation of a dream I have ever heard. And I haven't even gone into depth with you guys about my usual dreaming underwater dreams. I'm giving you a broad perspective just because I have them so often. Anyway, my dreams are so full of detail that I can tell you where every little crack on the wall was. And usually what people say is when you wake up, then you form the details to make the story make sense. But knowing this, I lucid dream a lot where I know I'm dreaming, but usually I don't interfere just because it's a good story, or like, I don't know, I just don't want to interrupt because I want to know what my head's thinking. And I will specifically, while I know I'm dreaming, look at the detail in the room or the area if it's outside, just because I think it's different for me. Like, because I've had dreams where the sky's missing and it's just focusing on the person or something like that. And I think that's how most people dream, and they just fill in the blanks later. But most of the time, like 98% of the time, every little detail happens in the room. And it's crazy. And I didn't think that was abnormal until I read that and then paid attention to my dreams. And the first dream I paid attention on, I was going to this party. Here, I'll get descriptive for you guys. So, I was on my home street, and I was walking down the sidewalk, and I was counting every single step that I took. Because usually what I do is I try to get 2 steps in each little sidewalk square. But there was so many cracks. Like, I didn't understand it. So I had to avoid even more cracks, not because step on a crack, break your mother's back, or step on a line, break your father's spine, just because I like avoiding cracks. It's like a game. But there was so many, and I could tell you on the, like, every first and third one, it was one from the right diagonal. It was like top left to right bottom, and then every second and fourth one was just like a bunch of, like, it would be the diagonal, but there would be a bunch going into it. And so it was like tiptoeing through each little square, trying to get through. And when I got in front of the drugstore that's like it's 2 blocks away, and I met with this friend. She didn't have a name. I didn't know who she was in real life. I just knew her in my dream. See, sometimes those little confusing blanks happen, and I never fill them in because I don't really care. She just had blonde hair, and she had a white party shirt. Like, it was long sleeve, and it had not so much a collar, but it was dressy. And she looked like she was ready to go to a club, and I was like 24 in the dream. And we went to this club down the street. So we went around, we turned the block, and I wasn't really paying attention to the cracks because I was talking to my friend with the blonde hair. I don't really know her name. Let's call her Kayla. She looked like a Kayla. Anyway, so I was walking with Kayla, and we went to this house. Don't know the house. We'll call it Gerard's house. So we went into Gerard's house, and it's a nice house. It's white with, like, the gold pillars. And we don't know how we got all this money to live in this house and throw this party, but we didn't care. It was a party. And we didn't drink, obviously, because I don't drink. And she's talking about something, and I was talking about a previous dream I had, but I was talking about it like it was real. And I was like, well, I'm in a dream, and I knew it because of that fact. And so now I know I'm in the dream, but I didn't change anything, because sometimes when I know I'm dreaming, I start teleporting, or making my hands grow super long, or running really fast, or something super cool, or changing the story. But recently, I've just been sitting back and watching because then I know I remember it in the morning for sure, even though I usually remember them. Anyway, so I'm talking to Kayla, and I'm just sitting in a chair, and she's sitting on the countertop that's acting as the bar. But, like, he has a main bar downstairs, and there's, like, a mini bar upstairs that, like, no one's at except me and her. But we're not drinking, so she's just sitting on the bar, and I'm sitting in the chair. And she's just talking about anything, and I'm not paying attention because now I know I'm dreaming, and I know if I say anything, I'll wake up. But she's just sitting at the bar, and I'm like, I'm dreaming, so I need to test if the details are there. Because of this, I knew the house was white, and everything was gold, and there was bar taps behind her, and there was a glass window to the left of her behind the bar, because, like, here's the bar, and here's the hallway, and here's the stairs going downstairs, and here's a window. And that's how the whole house was before I knew I was dreaming. I had to make sure. Hold on, my cat wants to come in. Screwdriver in the door. This is Peanut, guys. Interrupting the video like he always does. He's a good distraction. Anyway, we're back. Okay. I knew I could see detail, and no one on the internet I have found has had the same thing. Like, people have never talked about, like, why do I see so much detail in my dreams? And trust me, people ask everything on Google, so I do not know why. I do not know why I dream in so much detail. I am curious to know. If you guys figure out, let me know. Anyway, so I was going back into, I was talking about my water dream. So now, I was talking about how I'm the daughter of Poseidon. Here's another story, guys. So, I have these things that I've been starting to call mysterious water, which is strange experiences where there's just puddles of water. I'm going to give you 3 instances because these were the 3 craziest ones, but these kind of things happen all the time. And the reason why these 3 are the craziest is because they happened all in the same day. So, the first one, I was sitting in the car in the passenger seat so our mom could drop us off at school. And my shirt is drenched in water. And I have no clue where the water came from. Literally, nothing was on my lap except my book bag. And my lunchbox with my water in it, and there's no water in my book bag, and my book bag was dry. Keep in mind, my book bag was dry. And my lunchbox with my water, which sometimes leaks, was on the floor. So, I have no clue where this water came from. So I had this drenched shirt walking into school, and it's not low enough to make people think I wet myself, and I know I didn't because I would know. And I just had water all over my shirt, so what the heck? And then, that same day, I set my books down on the chair behind me in choir. So I never sat in the seat. And I lift up my books, and I feel something wet with my fingers, and I still didn't have a water bottle or anything that could make water on the seat. And I pick up my books, and I was so scared. This is how I knew the books were dry, because I had a notebook on the bottom instead of my usual book, actually. And I was so scared that I ruined my notebook because I hate tearing out last pages of notebooks because those are so valuable, especially for math. And I turned my books over, and it was dry. And I felt the pages, they were dry. Everything was dry. But there was a puddle of water on the seat. And I was like, where did this water come from? But the craziest one was when I got home. And the kitchen table was set out. And there was gallons of water underneath the table. So let me put this into perspective for you. The floor is tile, so nothing seeped through the floor to come up. There's a table above it, so nothing leaked from the ceiling. Plus, the table was dry, I had to feel, and the edges. Then, the dishwasher, which does that sometimes, didn't run throughout the whole day, because there were still dirty dishes in it from last night. So, how? It came from nowhere. And there was nothing, like, the only parts where there was water was underneath the kitchen table, and that took a lot of chamois to sweep up or clean up, and it was just a mess. And it happens all the time where I feel like there's water on me and I look and there is no water, but that's a common thing, but it just happens all the time to me. Or I'll just be sitting and all of a sudden here, I got an example right now. These strings were wet. I don't know what the heck from. And I know it's down low, but literally nothing else was wet. Why? And my pocket was wet earlier too, so I don't know why. And not even like my pocket, just the rim of my pocket. I don't know how things just get wet. That's why I'm the daughter of Poseidon. But Bianca, who's supposedly my protector according to her, doesn't know how to teach me my powers. I wish I knew, guys. If I knew, I'd tell you. Maybe not. If I knew, I'd show ya. But this is water. I drink a lot of water. Maybe it just leaks from me. I don't know. So, we talked about dreams. And we talked about strange obsessions with coins, pillows, and cats. And we talked about water. But, guys, I'm going to really show you how this is the Endless Podcast, because I can literally talk about anything. Like, yesterday, guess what, guys? I finally placed in a speech tournament. You heard us on the way to a speech tournament, and, guys, I made it to the power round, which means the top 6 people go to compete against each other. That never happens. Usually, I get last in each round, but for some reason, I did really well that tournament, and I placed. I hope I place again, because I'm finally doing well. It only took 3.5 years. Trying my best, guys. Peanut here. Going back to cats. I asked every Christmas since I was born. Well, not since I was born, since I could talk, for my own cat. We grew up with another cat, but she died, unfortunately, 4 years ago. And I've been asking, and finally, I got this one. Yeah, I got him for a birthday present. It was so good. I asked every Christmas, birthday, and Easter for nothing but a cat, and all I got was crazy for real electronics or stuff I didn't want. I just wanted a real one. And I finally got one, and his name is Peanut. And he is 4 now, ironically. He turned 4 on October 28th. Y'all, you can't see him. Peanut, there you go. You can be on camera. I'll talk while you show the sign. Yeah, you can be the star of the show. How do you feel about that? I don't know if you can hear him purring, but it's super cute. He really likes one pillow. He likes this pillow. And it's really funny because it kind of looks like him. Yeah. I'm making it look so scary. Here, let me tilt the camera up and show you. Hi, guys. If Ms. Becca C. Smith is still watching this, I want to say I am so happy you have an embarrassing story about meeting your author, your favorite author, because that just makes me feel so much better as a person, because you were so nice, and you just, answered everyone, and that's what Terry Brooks sounded like he did, and just thank you for uploading that video. I don't know if you'll ever see this, if you even watched the beginning, but thank you. It makes me feel better whenever I nerd out about something. Like today. Well, actually, I didn't really nerd out as much as I usually do. I was just talking about my dreams. But usually I nerd out about stuff. Like, okay, here, we'll give you an example. Let's nerd out about cats. Did you know that cats have this bacteria in their stomach that make them scratch when they're happy? Hence why he's digging into my knee right now. When they need, it's because they're happy. And because they got this little crazy bacteria in their stomach. And it's called cat scratch fever. And when people get it, I think people are using it wrong. Because when a cat scratches them and then they start acting crazy or they get a fever or something, they call that cat scratch fever. But that's not cat scratch fever. Cat scratch fever is when a cat scratches you because they're happy because of the bacteria in their stomach. So you physically cannot get it. So humans cannot get cat scratch fever. Well, maybe. I don't know if they get the bacteria in their stomach that makes them scratch when they're happy, but I don't know why you'd scratch when you're happy. Maybe we have an immunity to it, and cats don't. That's sad, but it's okay because I know you love me when you're digging your claws at me. Except when they go like this. If they go like this, like, means they don't like you. There's a difference. Because they won't stick their whole claws into you if they're happy. Yeah. Cats are such interesting creatures. I can nerd out about everything. And the best thing about nerding out about stuff is being able to theorize. Like, hold on, I was talking about a good one the other day. Oh, my friend brought up this one. Oh, no, I forgot it. It was something about God and how... Oh, here's how it is. Okay, so in the Bible, he brought this up. He states that Satan will never come because the Bible states that in the future, they know if he comes, the new Messiah... Well, okay, this is what happens. Satan will never come because the new Messiah, Jesus, will never come back. And they say the new Messiah, not the new Messiah, I keep calling them the new Messiah. Jesus will come back when Satan comes back to destroy him, like defeat him, send him back to hell. And if Satan never comes because he knows he'll be defeated, Jesus will never come. So the reason why Satan's never coming back to Earth is because he knows he'll be defeated by Jesus. Simple and logical. Actually, that wasn't a cool theory. It was just kind of the end of the theory. Didn't really give you the inside. But the next time it happens, maybe we'll have a theory on the next kayak podcast. I'll suggest it to Bianca. She'll enjoy that. Mostly. For sure. But going into religion, I'm Catholic. Bianca's not. She's Pentecostal. But I don't really care what religion I am or who you are. Because I don't even go to church anymore. I confirmed in 8th grade. And then I stopped going. That's it. Because I thought it was so freaking boring. And I've been to every church from kingdom halls to synagogues to churches. And I love them all except mine. Because mine is so boring. But they all make sense. And I've never been to like an ancient Greek church or an ancient Roman Norse or anything like that. But I would enjoy it. Like I just told you, I'm the daughter of Poseidon. Like I literally believe a little bit of each one. Because they all make sense. And I legit believe there is a reason why everything exists on this earth. And I mainly focus on the fiction of mermaids, unicorns, leprechauns, gods and goddesses and all of that. I think someone had to see it to write it. And I am not necessarily saying you saw it to wrote it, but you had an idea based off something else to write it. But let's think of, well, mermaid's too easy. Like, they were thinking of, what if they had a woman mixed with a fish? That would make sense. But what about unicorns? Who thought we should put a horn on a horse and write a story about it. My points exactly. So there must have been a unicorn. It's like that old folk song where they're talking about how the unicorns could not go on Noah's Ark. Maybe that's what happened. If Noah's Ark is even real. But the Bible was written, so Noah's Ark was probably real. But like ancient Greek mythology stories, they were written, so maybe the gods and goddesses are real. That's what I'm getting into. We write about everything that relates to us. We write stories based on what we know. And I didn't believe that until I started writing. And I never published a book, but I've written 147 pages of a book that is close to being finished. I don't know if I'll ever publish it. But, yeah. You write what you know about. And I seriously didn't believe it. I thought people made stuff up. But no, you write what you know. And it's crazy because my story, sorry, you don't have a reference for you guys. When I finish it, you guys will find out. Anyway, I was not making stuff up. My story is so crazy. It's about this girl in purgatory who goes through a bunch of memories to try and solve why she's dead and why she's in purgatory. Anyway, most of those memories aren't real, but they are based off real people and what they do in certain situations. And it's crazy how I felt back on that, because whenever I actually made something up, it'd be so short. Like, super short. Now I'm defaulting back to like. I don't really have much more to say on the topic, and it's getting into 38 minutes and 15 seconds. So, I bid you guys adieu, and I say, please subscribe to the Audio Twins, and thanks for listening to another endless podcast. Oh, maybe he'll say something. Here. Maybe he'll say bye if I do this. Can you say something? No? Alright, you usually meow when you do that. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll do it for him. Alright, bye guys. Subscribe to the Audio Twins. See ya.